Welcome to the Amenia Town Board meeting, Wednesday, November 20th. Please rise and salute the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Emergency exits are to my right behind the town attorney and also the door you came in. Roll, please.
Councilwoman Samoji. Here. Councilwoman Doyle.
Here.
Supervisor Prodi.
Here.
And let the record reflect that Councilman Gutierrez and Morris are absent.
Public comment? Okay, supervisors report. Wassaic Trail to the Train update. Project manager is hired. Notice to proceed signed by supervisor and contractor. Contractor doing a project survey in preparation for starting the project this year and completing it in the spring. Grant update, the 2020 Community Development Block Grant application submitted for Phase 2 sidewalk extension of 473 feet on Route 44 to Beekman Park is being reviewed by the Dutchess County Advisory Council. The 2020 budget, the 2020 adopted budget will be $183 under the tax cap with a decrease in town taxes of .48836 per thousand. Town of Amenia tree lighting festivities. On December 14th, from 4 to 6, the Amenia Historical Society will have an open house with displays from the past. Tree lighting, Citizen of the Year, and door prizes are at 5 o'clock, followed by a free concert in the auditorium. Town clerk report.
Good evening. This evening I'm presenting to the board with regret Kathleen Howard's resignation, who ran the summer day camp for the past 13 years.
I'll make a motion that we accept with regret Kathleen Howard's resignation.
Second.
Councilwoman Samoji?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Prodi?
Yes.
And to remind all of the residents in town that currently the town is advertising for open positions. We're currently seeking applications, which would include your resumes and your letter of intent for part-time recreation supervisor, part-time summer recreation director, part-time typist. Also, the town is accepting the applications for the volunteer positions of the Ethics Board, Planning Board, Zoning Board of Appeals, and Historian. I am now accepting those letters and resumes until December 16th at noon. They may be emailed to me or by hand delivery. I've also received, and I'll share with the board after the meeting, nominations for the Citizen of the Year. We've received them for both the hamlets of Amenia and Wassaic. Tonight I'm presenting to you the abstract for the month of November, totaling $141,726.19, and they're summarized as follows. General Fund A, $93,385.06. Highway Fund, $24,529.90. Amenia Lighting, $1,507.25. Wassaic Lighting, $540.62. Amenia Water, $21,763.36, for a total for this month, $141,726.19.
Make a motion that we authorize the payment of the claims as read.
Second.
Councilwoman Samoji?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Prodi?
Yes.
And also, with that being said, I'd like to wish everybody a happy and safe Thanksgiving.
Highway report.
Okay, we've been doing some repairs on dump trucks and other equipment down in the garage. We replaced a catch basin and then some pipe on Prospect. I've ordered some new street signs. Some need to be updated, so when they come in, we'll be updating some of our street signs. The little bit of snow we had yesterday morning, everything went good, no breakdowns. I am short a truck at the moment, our 2013 dump truck. That is our plow and sand truck. I took that to get looked at. They're coming up with electrical issues. So at the moment, we're just waiting for that to get done, so hopefully it won't take too long. I've called in a few street lights that I've noticed out, so I'll just keep an eye out if you guys see anything. And the benches, we got the benches put together for Wassaic.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
I'm sorry.
And we got them out today.
Thank you.
Welcome. I have a new issue with our 2000 Ford 550. Sent everyone a little letter today. The truck's got 111,000 miles. It will not shift above second gear. We trailered it to Northeast Ford. They came back, says it needs a lot of work. They're saying needs a new transmission. It's $4,278, and turbo problems, and a bunch of other little stuff. Just for the turbo and the transmission, it's of an estimate of $7,222. I don't think the truck's really worth putting that much more money into. It's 20 years old. It does have a cracked frame too, also in the front. I was going to take it to the jacks, maybe to get a second opinion. So I don't you guys think I should put that much money into that truck?
No.
I mean, the total they came up with fixing everything is at least 11,000.
Right. And it has that frame you told me, right? That broke, damaged. So.
So I talked to Prody earlier there, and we're
Okay, we're going to present a resolution tonight giving you the authority to sell the truck by auction, and a resolution permission to get prices on a new one, depending on, what the second estimate you have, but at least you'll have that in place
Okay.
in case that's the direction you need to go.
okay.
Resolution number?
87.
That's all I have.
Authorization to sell surplus town highway equipment, department equipment, and solicit proposals for new highway department equipment. Whereas Highway Superintendent Megan Chamberlain advised the town board of her intent to sell surplus town highway department equipment and vehicles pursuant to New York State highway law. Whereas Highway Superintendent Megan Chamberlain has proposed to sell one piece of equipment at auction and has proposed a contract with Auction International Incorporated, an international online auction service with substantial experience selling surplus municipal vehicles and equipment, which does not charge a seller's commission. And although no reserve is set, the town as seller has a right to reject all bids. Whereas there is one truck that the highway superintendent has identified to sell as surplus equipment as follows: 2000 Ford F-550 Super Duty truck. Whereas the highway superintendent has requested authorization to go out to bid for a new truck to replace the 2000 Ford F-550 Super Duty truck to be used by the town of Amenia Highway Department. Now therefore be it resolved that Highway Superintendent Megan Chamberlain is authorized to sell the 2000 Ford F-550 Super Duty truck as surplus town highway department equipment in accordance with Highway Law, Section 142.5, with Auctions International Incorporated, 11167 Big Tree Road, East Aurora, New York, 14502, and to execute the online auction contract agreement for sale of government assets to Auctions International Incorporated. And be it further resolved that the highway superintendent and town supervisor are hereby authorized to execute any and all documents, including Department of Motor Vehicle forms and bills of sale, necessary to transfer the above vehicles to the successful bidder, and be it further resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the highway superintendent to solicit bids for a new truck to replace the 2000 Ford F-550 Super Duty truck needed in the operation of Town of Amenia Highway Department. Is there a motion?
I make the motion that we authorize the authorization to sell the surplus town highway department equipment and solicit proposals for a new highway department equipment.
A second.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Councilwoman Simoji?
Yes. Thank you, Megan.
Recreation Commission report.
Recreation, we have for everyone, the senior holiday party at the pond is going to be on Wednesday, December 11th. And so if you have called me and said, Michelle, I want to come, please get your money into me, because the week after Thanksgiving, everything will be finalized. We have over 40 people going already, so it's going to be a great time for everyone. Also, we did mention briefly on our tree lighting on Saturday, December 14th, here at the town of Amenia. This is going to be a fantastic time. Believe me, it's going to be fantastic. So you have to come down here early. The doors are going to be open. Upstairs, the Historical Society is going to have a display of antique toys. So you can be able to go up there and see the toys. Then we'll do the tree lighting. We're going to have the Citizen of the Year. Also, we're going to have door prizes. And then we're going to have a concert in our auditorium here by the Dover High School Band and singers. And it'll be a great time for everyone. You can come, and you can also sing along to Christmas carols. You know, Rudolph. You all love Rudolph. And it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful time. And there'll be refreshments. So those of you come with a little bit of an appetite or a little sweet tooth, and you'll have a wonderful time. That's basically all I have for any events.
Okay, Water Department report. This is the October-November 2019 monthly update. On September, total water produced in gallons was 3,186,800. October was 1,849,100. Average daily flow distribution, 106,200. October was 59,600. The lower usage in October was from fixed leaks. Meters inspected, changed, customer calls, 4835 Route 22, phone conversation with property owner and check of meter at location, no issues found with meter, no charge. 26 Railroad, customer did not return calls after several attempts, no charge. 4957 Route 22, no issues found with meter, intermittent, continuous leak, no charge. 43 Depot Hill, discussed with homeowner about continuous leak. They stated that they had a water feature that was being used and could have caused excessive use. No issues found with meter. Followed up with homeowner. They are still monitoring, no charge. 3311 Route 343, discussed with customer and gave estimate for new water line install. There is currently no services to this property, but it is in the middle of the water district. They have a private well, and because of the cost of the project, they have decided not to move on project, no charge. 13 Prospect Field, check valve replaced, town issue. House would pressurize and then water would flow back to distribution. Meter was moving forward each time. House was pressurized, causing false readings, no charged. Water line mark out, dig safe, New York. 13 Lake Amenia, NYSEG emergency pole replaced. 215 Depot Hill Road, reconstruction, no charge. 217 Depot Hill Road, cable installed trench, no charge. 189 Depot Hill Road, cable installed trench, no charge. 12 Laval Road, NYSEG pole anchor install, no charge. Red Tail Path excavation part 1, no charge. Red Tail Path excavation part 2, no charge. 410 Wood Duck Road, excavating, no charge. 11 Cascade Road, cable installed trench, no charge. Water main, water leaks. Water leak on Broadway, found 33 Broadway service line failed. under the town road and caused water to flow on town road in front yard of 34 Broadway. Curb valve was located, repaired, and service turned off. Homeowner notified, and they will be responsible for cost of new service line or repair. Water leak, Lavelle Road, found old 2-inch water main leaking. The main was feeding 3 properties in total, 2 abandoned properties and 1 active house. The 2-inch main was cut off, current distribution system, a new 3/4-inch with new curb valve, rod and box installed to supply 1 occupied home. Replacing this line saved the town approximately 50,000 gallons of water a day. Power outage, 11/119 power outage from approximately 1:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Generator, Washington Court shut down approximately 4:30 a.m. over temp alarm. Found pinholes in the radiator and low coolant. Vendor was notified. Found faulty manual auto switch in temp senior. Generator up and running approximately 11:30 a.m. Radiator would need replacement. Generator, Lavelle Road, failed voltage regulator issue, awaiting parts, still down. Estimate sent to the town for approval. Storage tank was at full capacity. We were able to run on the 2 wells at Washington Court and maintain pressure during outage. Water pressure and storage never lost during outage. Is there any other committee reports?
The CAC is not going to meet in November. Their meeting was scheduled for tonight, but since we are doing our budget meeting at the same time, they have canceled. They will be meeting on the 3rd Wednesday in December. And I just had to notice that the December 16th ZBA was rescheduled for Monday, December 9th. That's all I have.
And any other committee reports? Okay, resolution to adopt the 2020 budget. Number 88.
Yes.
Adopting annual town budget for 2020, whereas the town supervisor has filed a tentative 2020 budget for the town of Amenia pursuant to Section 106 of Town Law, September 30th, 2019, whereas the town clerk delivered the tentative budget to the town board in accordance with Town Law, Section 106 on October 3rd, 2019, whereas the tentative budget has been considered, discussed, reviewed, and modified, and adopted as a preliminary budget by the town board on October 30th, 2019, whereas the town board on November 7, 2019, commencing at 7 p.m., held a public hearing on the preliminary budget approved by the board and filed with the town clerk for the fiscal year commencing January 1st, 2020, including the fire district, street lighting district, and water district, and having heard all persons desiring to be heard in the matter of the budget for the town of the fiscal year, having been fully discussed and considered, they closed the public hearing. Whereas the town board has considered certain changes, alterations, revision to the preliminary budget, and whereas the preliminary budget approved and filed as aforesaid is hereby changed, altered, and revised as set forth in the minutes of the proceedings of the town board. Now therefore be it resolved, pursuant to Town Law, Section 109, that said preliminary budget as changed, altered, and revised is hereby adopted and established as the annual budget for this town for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2020, that such annual budget as so adopted and detailed in the minutes of the proceedings at Town Board, and be it further resolved that the 2020 town tax rate is 1.97715 per thousand of assessed value, with a tax levy imposed of $1,693,906. And be it further resolved, the town clerk shall prepare and certify as provided by law duplicate copies of said annual budget as so changed, altered, and revised, and as hereby adopted, and deliver one of such copies to the supervisor of the town so that she can present such copy to the Dutchess County Legislature as provided by law. And I make that motion.
Second.
Councilwoman Smoji?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Prodi?
Yes.
You're going to hand me one?
You got a letter.
I
Thank you.
Stamp it in. Okay, and then we have resolution to adopt solar law. And which one should we do first?
Seeker.
The seeker one. Is that the first one in the?
I think so.
Yes. That's it.
State Environmental Quality Review Act seeker regarding the adoption of the amendment. Is that the one?
That's the one.
That's the one, yes.
And that's 89.
It's 89.
Make sure I'm keeping track of my numbers here.
Yes, it's 89.
State Environmental Quality Review Act seeker regarding the adoption of an amendment to Chapter 121 of the Code of the Town of Amenia to add a new section 121-X entitled Solar Energy Systems. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Amenia is considering amending Chapter 121, the Code of the Town of Amenia to add a new section 121 entitled Solar Energy Systems. Whereas the environmental review seeker does not contain any specific proposal for a project and is for the purposes of adoption of general amendments to the Town of Amenia zoning regulations only. Whereas the Town Board did submit the proposed amendments to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development, Department of Agriculture and Markets, and the Town of Amenia Planning Board. Whereas the Town Board held public hearings on June 20th, 2019, July 11th, 2019, and October 17th, 2019, on the proposed amendment, at which time all parties who desired to be heard in connection with the proposed amendment and environmental significance were heard. Whereas the Town Board made a determination that the proposed action is a Type 1 action pursuant to seeker, pursuant to 6 NY CRR 617.4, 617.5, whereas the Town Board determined that the proposed local law is an action for which there are no other involved agencies, that the Town Board is therefore by default the lead agency for this action. Now therefore be it resolved that upon review of Part 1 and completion of Part 2 and Part 3 of the full environmental assessment form, the Town Board officially makes a determination of non-significance and that the proposed action is not expected to result in significant adverse impact on the environment, and therefore the preparation of a draft environmental impact statement is not necessary, and be it further resolved that this determination shall be considered a negative declaration for the purposes of Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law for the reasons set forth in the attached full environmental assessment form with respect to this project, a copy of which is in said files, which shall be maintained in the office of the town clerk. Be it further resolved that the town supervisor is hereby authorized to sign the full environmental assessment form and accompany negative declaration and determination of non-significance. Respect to the project in substantially the same form as annexed hereto, and the town clerk is directed to maintain a file for this determination.
I make that motion.
Second.
Councilwoman Smoji?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes. Adopting local law. Okay, so I think we're up to 90.
90, yes.
Adopting local law number 2 of the year 2019 to amend Chapter 121 zoning, the Amenia Town Code add a new section 121-X entitled Solar Energy Systems, whereas a resolution was duly adopted by the Town Board of the Town of Amenia, introducing proposed local law number 2 of the year 2019, entitled Local Law number 2 of the year 2019 to amend Chapter 121, zoning of the Amenia Town Code to add a new section 121-X entitled Solar Energy Systems, whereas the public hearing was duly advertised in the Millerton News, the official newspaper of the town, whereas the public hearings were held on June 20th, 2019, July 11, 2019, and October 17, 2019, and all parties in attendance were permitted an opportunity to speak on behalf of or in opposition to said proposed local law or any part thereof, whereas said local law was circulated for purposes of seeker and for advisory opinions to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development, Department of Agriculture and Markets, and the Town of Amenia Planning Board. Whereas the environmental significance of the law has been reviewed and the Town Board has adopted a negative declaration in respect hereto. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Amenia, after due deliberation, finds it is in the best interest of the town to adopt said local law. Whereas said local law has been on the desks of members of the Town Board of the Town of Amenia for at least 7 days, exclusive of Sunday, prior to the adoption of this resolution. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Amenia hereby adopts local law number 2 of the year 2019 in the form annexed hereto.
I make the motion of adopting local law number 2 of the year 2019.
Second?
I'll second, but would like discussion. So I had comments prepared from Mark Doyle, but they were submitted very late, so I apologize, but I would like just the record to reflect that he has some concerns about the constrictions that the solar law may not have gone far enough to help keep farms and agriculture viable. I had asked that question, and I felt that Nina and Ian and the zoning revision committee had addressed that well, but his concern was that there's a considerable opportunity to generate much-needed electric power with systems requiring between 5 and 20 acres, and these are generating facilities designed to provide power to the grid and certainly in excess of ordinary farm use. Siting of these systems is highly dependent on nearby access to the power grid. For smaller systems, though, having an accessible 3-phase power line does the trick. So in New York Farm Bureau discussions, we've surfaced real concerns about certain issues, but I will go down to his recommendation that in the future, let's just say, when we modify this law, we should include the RA district with the requirement of a site plan and special permit, ensure that the construction methodology allows for a complete removal and remediation of the land in order to return it to agricultural use within 1 season of the removal. He's concerned about prime soils being put back into farmland and not turned into something else. Ensure that the same siting and screening considerations apply, restrict solar fields to sites that, I'll forward this to you. Solar fields to sites that do not include more than 10% soils of statewide importance and absolutely do not include prime soils. That's his recommendation. Ensure that access or service roads do not cross wetlands or fragile significant habitats. Ensure that the affected land is withdrawn from the agricultural assessment program, although I don't think the penalty for doing so is necessary because the land can be returned to agriculture. So there are some, his main concern was it was excluded from the RA district. He spoke with Nina and Leo, and they said there were reasons for doing that. But Mark is concerned that for the small family farm, 5 to 10 acres, they should be allowed. There's a lot of small farmers in RA districts, and that would help give them an outside income, and with proper controls, it would hopefully return to agricultural use when not needed and be on marginal land rather than prime agricultural soils. So in the future, I will just say that I have some concrete suggestions that have already been forwarded to the revisionist committee, and I'll forward it to Ian, but they would be in subsequent revisions because of the lateness of these comments.
Is that from Mark the person or Mark CAC?
It's Market, probably from Farm Bureau.
For his person? Okay.
Farm Bureau, representing the Farm Bureau. I don't know.
Okay.
He starts out with the whole thing, a description of the Farm Bureau's recommendations and discussions.
And why should the regular homeowners be allowed to have?
Excuse me, you're out of order.
Certainly.
We have designated times for public comment.
Okay, so Councilwoman Simoji?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Prodi?
Yes. Resolution 91.
Yes.
Employing legal services to the town, to Amenia Town Board for calendar year 2020. Be it resolved that E.N.C. Linders, Esquire of Stanger Roberts, Davis and Diamond LLP, be and he hereby is retained for the purposes of furnishing the town board for such legal advice and services as may be required by the town board during calendar year 2020. Be it further resolved that E.N.C. Linders, Esquire, Stanger, Roberts, Davis and Diamond, LLP, shall be paid in accordance with the engagement letter submitted to the town supervisor dated October 28, 2019, and be it further resolved that the town supervisor is hereby authorized to execute the engagement agreement. Is there a motion?
I make the motion that of employing legal services to the town of Amenia Town Board for calendar year 2020.
Second?
Yes, I'll second that.
Councilwoman Simoji?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Prodi?
Yes. Employing legal service for tax certiorari matters for calendar year 2020. Be it resolved that E.N.C. Linders, Esquire, Stanger, Roberts, Davis and Diamond, LLP, is hereby retained as the attorney for tax certiorari matters during calendar year 2020, and be it further resolved that E.N.C. Linders, Esquire, Stanger, Robert, Davis and Diamond, LLP, shall be paid for such services in accordance with the proposal submitted to the town board dated October 28, 2019. Be it further resolved that the town supervisor is hereby authorized to execute the engagement agreement.
I make the motion of employing legal services for the tax certiorari matters for calendar year 2020.
I'll second.
Councilwoman Simoji?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Prodi?
Yes. Okay, resolution to approve NDP ambulance service contract. This is the contract the three towns have, the regional contract that the towns have been working on. Resolution number 93 of 2019, authorizing entering into an execution of ambulance service agreement with Northern Dutchess Paramedics Incorporated jointly with the towns of Dover and Northeast. Whereas the town of Amenia, pursuant to the authority of general municipal law, section 122B, can contract individually or jointly for emergency medical services or general ambulance services or a combination of such services. Whereas the town of Amenia currently has a written agreement with Northern Dutchess Paramedics for ambulance services, which agreement is due to expire on December 31st, 2019. Whereas the towns of Amenia, Dover, and Northeast, including the village of Millerton, are presently served by 3 advanced life support ambulances, with 1 ambulance located in each town, and the towns are desirous of finding a more affordable and sustainable way to meet the emergency medical services and ambulance services for the above municipalities. Whereas the towns of Amenia, Dover, and Northeast requested proposals from qualified entities to provide for emergency medical services and ambulance services to persons situated within the towns of Amenia, Dover, and Northeast, including the village of Millerton, which falls within the borders of the town of Northeast. Whereas only 1 proposal was received by the towns. And whereas the town board of the town of Amenia finds that emergency services are vital and necessary to the health and welfare of the residents of the town of Amenia, it is in the best interest of the town of Amenia to join with the towns of Dover and Northeast and enter into agreement with NDP to supply emergency medical services and general ambulance services to the towns of Amenia, Dover, and Northeast, including the village of Millerton. Whereas the town board of the town of Amenia determines that this is a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, therefore not subject to review under seeker. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board acknowledges that they have read the terms and conditions set forth in the ambulance service proposal from NDP, and hereby accepts the terms, conditions, and obligations as set forth in said proposal, a copy of which is affixed hereto. Be it further resolved that the town board hereby authorizes and directs the town supervisor to enter into and execute an ambulance service agreement with NDP by and on behalf of the town of Amenia, subject to final review and approval of the attorney of the town, and be it further resolved that the town supervisor is hereby directed to provide a copy of the ambulance service agreement with NDP, signed by all parties to the town clerk, who shall maintain the same in her files.
Make that motion.
Second.
Councilwoman Samoji?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Purdy?
Yes. Now, under other matters, I have a transfer of funds. And I think I'm up to 94.
Okay, I got, yes. 2 of these things. Here. Yeah, I have 2 persons.
Whereas the town board has the authority to transfer funds when necessary unanticipated to amend the budget. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing expense line 16604.01.074 Central Storm CE supplies by $805 and decreasing expense line 14204.01123 Attorney CE Town Codification by $805 for unanticipated expenses. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing expense line 36204.01.063 Safety Inspection CE mileage by $660 and decreasing expense line 36204.01.048 Safety Inspection CE conferences by $350 and decreasing expense line 36204.01.051 Safety Inspection CE dues by $310 for unanticipated mileage cost. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing expense line 90608.01 medical insurance town by $82.57 and increasing expense line 90608.01.037 medical insurance deductible by $82.57 for additional expenses. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing expense line 90508.01 unemployment insurance by $2,527.28 and decreasing 65104.01.084 Veteran Services CEVFW by $195.85, decreasing 71401.01 Playgrounds Rec PS by $1,123.67, decreasing 71501.01 Special Rec Facilities PS by $100, and decreasing for 5401.01 Ambulance CE by $1,107.76 for unanticipated expenses. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing the appropriated fund balance account 599 from Assessor Capital Fund CD by $16,040.44, and increasing expense line 13554.01.044, Assessor C Certiorari's by $16,061.61 for unanticipated legal expenses. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund increasing expense line 16204.01.077, building CE telephone by $1,000 and increasing expense line 71504.01.032, special rec facilities instructor by $1,000 for additional expense. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund increasing expense line 90408.01 workers' comp by $750 and decreasing expense line 65104.01.084 veteran services CEVFW by $250 for unanticipated expense. Whereas budget amendment in the highway fund increasing expense line 90408.03 workers' comp by $2,000 and decreasing expense line 514.21.03 snow removal PS by $2,000 for unanticipated expense. Whereas budget amendment in the highway fund increasing expense line 51304.03 highway machinery CE by $2,722.60, decreasing expense line 51122.03.112 improvements EQ chips by $2,722.60 for unanticipated expense. Can I make that motion?
Second.
Any questions?
She looked right this way. I have no questions.
I have no questions.
Councilwoman Smoji?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Prodi?
Yes. Public comment?
Yes.
Please come up to the microphone and identify yourself.
My name is Anthony Bonadias. I'd like to know how come regular residents can't have solar panels in their backyard?
They can.
Okay. I thought there was some problem with that.
No?
Okay. And how many are you allowed to have?
Depends on what district you're in. You have to look at your zoning code and the use, permitted use table so that you can figure out where it's allowed and what the requirements are for each district.
Okay. And the next question is, what about the noise and vibration that comes off of Route 22, a commercial corridor? There's zoning regulations against that. Town zoning regulations say you can't feel noise and the vibration from commercial property. Route 22 is commercial corridor, commercial interstate highway, commercial property.
Actually, it's an interstate highway, not considered commercial property.
Well, I do believe that an interstate highway is commercial property. And I want to know how I'm going to be protected from the noise and vibration.
If there's a dispute on as to what this is, I mean, you can hire counsel and you can actually assert some sort of complaint. I don't know if you've expressed this particular
I've sent
concern
letters
to
to town
anybody at this
before
point
and
on.
not got any answers from them.
Well, I am aware of a very recent complaint that you just sent.
I sent ones a year ago. I've sent ones.
I'm not- I was not privy to
I
that.
have the
I have one
certified receipts for them and/or received stamps.
I've only received one which you sent just a few days ago.
Yes, just recently.
Yeah, that's
But
the
there's
only one that I've seen.
There's one over a year ago that was just shined on.
Okay. I was not privy to that, but I am looking into the one that you just received.
I appreciate
But
that.
as
And
far as any legal determination from this board, at this point now, it's being under review.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Town board comments? None?
I have a suggestion that we write a grant for the Greenway Conservancy that's due February 6th, I believe, is the first round in 2020. I met with a grant writer who has worked for Northeast Community Center for 16 years and is now going out on her own. She said she'd be willing to help
For what?
with the Greenway grant for, for the Tribute Gardens, not the Tribute Gardens, the Fountain Square improvements that we had proposed
Yeah, we didn't,
about 3 or 4 years ago. We
Yeah.
have a budget and we have a design and
yeah,
just
we
need to get
applied for
funding.
Tribute Garden, but we didn't get it.
Okay, that's reasonable. I know they have given us money in the past, and probably they would like us to, find other sources of
And when is it due?
grants.
February?
February 6th, I believe. I'm happy to help with putting it together, but she would be willing to offer us to do it. She thinks it'll take about 15 hours of information gathering and writing the narrative, et cetera, and she would do that for $525, which is a discount off of her normal rate of $50 an hour, but she would be able to meet with us.
And how long?
She would do 15 hours worth of work for us.
And she is?
Anna Kloon, she is, lives in Millerton and is doing grant writing as a consultant. So she's just
Well,
Got-
can she give us a resume? or-
She'd be willing to sit down and meet with us before our next town board meeting, if that would be appropriate.
Okay.
And I can try and get her resume in the future. I met with her on Saturday, and she's just very, very skilled and very good at narrative and has done really good work for the Northeast.
Now, there's a
Community Center.
match to that, isn't there?
That's correct, and we would be, I would think, working towards a $10,000 grant, of which $5,000 would then be required by in-kind services, of which Leo, Marcia, and the Enhancement Committee, I think, would be willing to provide that in design services. We've already, of course, they've donated their design work, which is worth $6,000 right there. So I think that between manual labor and such, the one concern that I have is breaking the $30,000 project into $10,000, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, or trying to find, in addition to the Greenway grant, what else would be appropriate for this project. We think it's very saleable because of the veterans gathering. We need buffering from the highway, as we just experienced it on Veterans Day. The truck traffic and noise drowns out our speakers every now and then. So I think the idea of the
Well,
planting
we
was
would be
to
able
help
to
address that.
apply to Tribute Garden again in March.
Yeah.
So we could do
the
part of
balance.
one and then part
Yep.
of the other.
And I think it would help them to understand. I think also M&T M&T Foundation would be an appropriate avenue as well for $3,500.
And you're going to do that?
I would be willing to work towards that, and Leo also conceptually believes that would be fine. He'll be back in December.
Okay.
So do you want me to bring her in for an interview on at our next meeting?
Well, you can do that, and then you could, talk more about, the plan and everything
Okay.
for the December 5th meeting.
Okay.
Are there any other town board comments? Make a motion to go into executive session pending litigation. Town clerk is excused
I second it.
with the town attorney.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nope.
Yay.